We destroyed huge value items in D2R, all to determine which one was the strongest of them all. The skill Iron Golem allows you to turn any metal item into a bot battling badass. And when two golems meet, they just can't help but to engage in a tin can cockfight to the death. All for our amusement and virtual entertainment. All I ask in return for this expensive sacrifice is that you hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Last year, we did a similar event in Lord of Destruction where we crowned a champion by the name of Malice Flail. But does this proverbial piece of shit have what it takes to survive in the new version of the game? Stay tuned and find out. But first, a word from the king of all bot battling games and the sponsor of all the scrap metal you'll see today. And that is Mech Arena. Mech Arena is the perfect game for people who love shooters but don't have that precious time like they used to. I can turn my friends into scrap metal in less time than it takes for a bathroom break to start looking suspicious. The maps are tight and designed for short, intense gameplay with tons of encounters and respawns. So grab onto your nuts and bolts, cause this is gonna be some rapid-paced robot rattling. My favorite mech is Killshot because of his rush ability. With it, I can charge my opponents and kill them in embarrassing fashion. This month is huge for Mech Arena. First, it's Battle Pass Season 9, with a ton of rewards and skins to grab. Second, it's Mech Arena's 1-year anniversary, and they've got a packed schedule of special events with some crazy prizes to win, including an awesome new sniper weapon and new pilot, Archangel. All you gotta do is click the link down in the description or use the QR code on screen to get a free starter pack worth $25. In it, you'll get a Firelight skin, a Prodigy crate, and a Plasma Cannon 4 to help kickstart your game. You can add me in-game with this ID and jam some team duels with yours truly. So don't wait around. Download Mech Arena for free today. And while you do that, let's discover what's the strongest item in all of D2R. We destroyed over 50 high runes worth of gear, putting a dime-sized dent in the in-game inflation. Not even the rarest item in the game was spared in this ultimate test of robotic dominance. The first golem we created was the winner and fan favorite of last year's event, Malice Flail. We spared neither nuts nor bolts in the first round and put him against one of the best in-slot weapons in the game, Beast Berserker Axe. This thing is savage, with mid-range weapon damage, open wounds, and crushing blow. All of the attributes from an item are magically spoofed onto the Iron Golem when it's created. Malice Flail could only rely on 100% open wounds and its Thorns aura. It was a very fast but close first round, with Malice Flail eking out the win, making a huge statement and proving to his longtime fans that he is still a serious contender. But some of you may remember that there was another fan favorite from last year, who goes by the name of Boneflesh. This time, we used the Herodric Cube formula to increase the defense on Boneflesh, hoping to give it a massive advantage against the champion. And in an ironic twist of fate, these two beloved fan faves were destined to die at the hands of each other, and meet once again in robot heaven. Unfortunately for them, we conducted their final battle in the middle of a Satan star, so heaven is probably not the place where they went. Luckily, I came prepared with multiple versions of Malice, so the champion could live once again. Next up, Malice went against Medusa's Gaze, a rather rare but useless shield boasting 20% slow and 9 life leech. I don't really know why this item was picked. Our wise champion chose not to stare directly into the eyes of this accursed item, but instead to punch it in its robotic face. Next up was a very creative choice, a double-upped Crowcaw armor, which was even ethereal for massively increased defense. This armor also boasts open wounds, so it's possible these guys could kill each other too. And by possible, I mean highly probable. We put Humpty Dumpty back together again and gave him a pass to the next round. But all this resurrection and fanfare was clearly going to the champion's head. He began snubbing people in public and even developed a habit of smoking that gas. High five, bud. Where you going? Where you going? Oh, he's a snobby little bitch, but holy hell, he's tough. But Malice was gonna have to kick that crude oil attitude real quick, because his longtime rival, Duress, was back in town. Duress also has open wounds, crushing blow, enhanced damage, and massive defense. We made it in an ethereal lacquered plate this time because this is part 2. And we didn't come here to fuck around. Both bots approach each other in what was quickly becoming a scrap heap graveyard. It was a back and forth battle, and much to the dismay of the fans who always believed in Malice, they watched as he was delivered to his final resting place in pieces. In the life of an Iron Golem, you live by the steel and you die by it too. One item that was oddly not present in Part 1 was the most damaging armor in the game, so we made sure to include Fortitude in Part 2. Many fans speculated that this armor might have always possessed the ability to reign supreme. Instead of open wounds, this armor boasts massive enhanced damage, godly defense, and +1 to light radius. The two translucent robots meet in the center of the star, and Fortitude makes a huge statement against the wildly successful Duress. It was the beginning of a new era. But Fortitude still had a lot to prove if he wanted to achieve bot battling fame. So next, he went up against an ethereal version of Templar's Might. Would this useless armor finally find a use? We put it up against the rising champion to find out. It may come as no surprise to most D2 veterans, but it turns out this armor is useless in every sense of the word in this game. It was time for Fortitude to be put to the ultimate test against the rarest item in the game. Many veteran players never found this elusive blue armor, and most of them never gave a shit. But clearly the rarity of this armor would prevail. It would prove to the world that there's a reason this item is hard to find. Because you don't find true heroes find you. Glory exists in scarcity and power in beauty. With the blessed conviction of Tyrael himself, this very rare armor, there's nothing we can do for that armor. That's just, it sucks. It was beginning to look like nothing could defeat this unrelinquished scrap heap. But with the new changes in D2R, how would Fortitude fare against the most powerful weapons in the game? What I'm thinking is that that flat amount of damage won't nearly be as much as it was before, so that higher damage items actually have a chance. That's the theory, and we're gonna dump a whole lot of resources trying to get to the bottom of this one. Next up, we're doing EBOTD Warpike. Because we've determined the best armor in the game. And we've got to know if Fortitude's got what it takes. All right, let's do it. Welcome to the new Iron Golem Duels, boys. Weapons are back. It was indeed the start of a new era. Many players pitted some weak-ass bitch weapons against the new champion, but none could match the size of BOTD's BOT Dick. They tried Woe Stave for slows target and open wounds, but we watched it crumble from what appeared to be one tap on the dome. Blood Crescent was also no match for the new champ. Or was it? BOTD suffered life-threatening injuries during this duel, but luckily for us, Joby tokened his entire paladin for this event and turned it into a healer, so we had absolutely nothing to worry about.
Holy, I got bad news.
No! Did it die?
Yeah.
Oh no! Thanks to this amazing community, however, and more specifically, again SB, we were donated another EBOTD Warpike for us to use in this ridiculous event. We wasted no time giving him a tough opponent in Doom Berserker Axe. The battle was intense, and for a moment it looked like Doom might take the crown with his bad-mannered Holy Freeze bullshit. But BOTD was having none of that. He eked out a win with a sliver of life left. Let's hope the host of this whole event doesn't accidentally attack him after the duel. Oh shit!
No.
You probably saw where I was going with that one. Feeling bad for having ruined such a generous donation, I decided it was time to do something that I vowed not to do in this event. There was one thing I vowed not to do today, and that was to kill some of the items that I feel an emotional connection to. But you know, my emotional connection to the generosity of again SB is greater than it is to this Breath of the Dying. Because that was super nice of him to do, and I feel like I f***ed that up. So to match your generosity, I'm sacrificing my own near perfectly rolled BOTD. This was the first EBOTD I ever rolled in D2R. Self-rolled, my first ever highly GG rune word. Goodbye, Breath of the Dying. I'm gonna miss you. You do hold a special place in my heart. But it's time to f*** all the Iron Golems up. And he's gonna be going up against what some would consider the most broken item in the game, and an ethereal version of it nonetheless. Grief versus EBOTD. It was beginning to look like our new champion would never die again. But Kingslayer is a hell of a rune word. It's got largely inferior stats to BOTD, and I do mean largely. But as we know, nothing makes sense in Iron Golem duels. It's a cruel world out there for them robots. In the very next round, where we originally had intended to determine the ultimate winner, Kingslayer went up against Rift, and in what has become a common occurrence in this event, they annihilated each other. There was only one thing we could do. We brought back the top 3 fan favorite items from the entire event. Of course, our boy BOTD made his triumphant return, alongside Fortitude and Season 1 winner Malice Flail. If we couldn't pick a winner from this bunch, it wasn't meant to be. Because Fortitude had already been bested by BOTD, we pitted him against Malice Flail instead. And then, something very special happened. Malice Flail remembered you guys. He thought of all of his fans and the love you gave him at the end of Season 1. He mustered up all of his titanium courage as he faced off against the most dominant undercard golem of the night. A golem that he'd watched slay all of his shit item friends at the lower tier of competition. When Fortitude crumbled, the crowd could taste it. This was Malice's chance to take back the crown once again. We watch as the final long and grueling round commences, as Malice takes on EBOTD Warpike for the title. And so it came to pass that the ethereal Breath of the Dying Warpike was the new Iron Golem champion. And then Joby killed him. No! Damn you!
You killed it, Coolino.
So I killed Joby. Everybody died.